In a forgotten village, nestled deep within a shadowed forest, there was a tale that had been passed down through generations, a tale whispered with fear and caution. It spoke of a treasure, an ancient hoard buried in the depths of Black Hollow, a forsaken ravine where no one dared venture. But legends are hard to resist, and for every brave soul or foolish heart, there was a temptation that led them to seek the riches and meet their doom. It was in the winter of 1883 when Thomas Granger, a young and ambitious historian, arrived in the village. He had heard whispers of the treasure hidden in Black Hollow and, fueled by curiosity and greed, he sought out the villagers for more information. They met his questions with silence, their eyes shadowed with fear. The old ones would cross themselves and mutter prayers when the treasure was mentioned, while the younger villagers scoffed, dismissing it as mere superstition. But for Thomas, it was a challenge he could not ignore. One evening, after much persuasion, an elderly woman named Agnes finally spoke to him, her voice trembling. "The treasure you seek," she said, "was cursed. It belongs to the Black Hollow, and to disturb it is to invite death. Many have tried, and none have returned." Thomas, undeterred, dismissed her warning. He believed that superstition had no place in the modern world, and the treasure, if it was real, could be his key to wealth and fame. He made preparations to explore Black Hollow the next day. The forest was thick with mist when Thomas set out. The trees stood like silent sentinels, their bare branches clawing at the gray sky. The deeper he ventured, the darker it became, as if the light itself was being swallowed by the earth. Soon, the ground grew uneven, the path disappearing into jagged rocks. At the entrance to Black Hollow, the air grew colder, and an eerie stillness enveloped him. He looked down into the ravine, an endless pit that seemed to breathe, as though the earth itself was alive. Despite the sense of dread gnawing at him, Thomas pressed forward, driven by the promise of gold. As he descended into the hollow, the earth seemed to shift under his feet. The walls of the ravine towered high on either side, blocking out the sun, and the temperature dropped further. Strange, guttural noises echoed from the depths, like whispers or something worse. He chalked it up to the wind, but a part of him couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. After what felt like hours, he stumbled upon a hidden cavern, the air thick with the scent of damp earth. There, glinting in the dim light of his lantern, was the treasure. Piles of golden coins, priceless jewels, and ancient relics, all sparkling as though they were waiting for him. His heart raced with excitement, and he reached out greedily, touching the gold. But as soon as his fingers made contact, the ground trembled. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the cavern. "Leave this place, mortal, or suffer the consequences." Thomas froze, his blood running cold. He glanced around, but saw no one. The voice continued, this time more urgent. "The treasure is cursed. Return it, and leave before it claims you." But Thomas, now consumed by the allure of wealth, ignored the warning. He stuffed coins and jewels into his bag, his mind fixated on the riches. The air grew heavier, the whispers louder, until they felt like claws scraping against his skin. Suddenly, the cavern shook violently, and a shadow moved across the walls, like something massive shifting. A low growl rumbled from the depths, and the ground cracked open. From the blackness below, a monstrous figure emerged. A creature with eyes like burning coals and a body twisted and deformed, its form an unholy fusion of man and beast. It roared in fury, and Thomas, paralyzed with terror, could only watch as the creature lunged at him. The last thing he heard was the creature's voice, speaking in a language older than time itself. "The treasure belongs to Black Hollow, and all who seek it will never leave." When the villagers found Thomas's abandoned belongings the next morning, they knew what had happened. The treasure had claimed another victim, and the whispers of Black Hollow grew louder. To this day, no one dares approach the ravine. The treasure remains buried, its curse waiting for the next fool to challenge it. And the shadows of Black Hollow stir, ever hungry for the souls of those who are drawn to its dark allure.